The baby monitor crackled with my daughter's soft breathing as I stood in the bathroom, staring at my reflection. 6 weeks postpartum. My body still carried the evidence of growing a human. Stretched skin, softer curves, a stomach that hadn't quite returned to its former shape. I heard the bedroom door open. My husband, Tyler, home from another late night at the office. "Harper, you still up?" His voice carried that edge of irritation it always had lately. "Just finishing up," I called back, pulling on my robe. When I walked into the bedroom, he was scrolling through his phone, still in his suit. He barely glanced up. "We need to talk," he said. Something in his tone made my stomach drop. "Okay, is everything all right?" He finally looked at me, and the disgust in his eyes was so naked, so undisguised that I actually stepped backward. "No, Harper, everything is not all right. Look at yourself." I pulled my robe tighter. "Tyler, I just had a baby 6 weeks ago." "I know when you had the baby. I was there, remember?" He stood up, and I realized he'd been drinking. Not falling down drunk, but enough to loosen his tongue, to say the things he'd been thinking. "I've been patient. I've waited for you to get back to normal, but you're not even trying." "Not trying? Tyler, I'm up every 3 hours feeding our daughter. I'm exhausted." "That's an excuse. Other women bounce back. Look at Jessica. She had a baby 2 months ago, and she's already back in her pre-pregnancy jeans." Jessica, his coworker, the one he'd mentioned a few too many times lately. "Every body is different. The truth is, Harper, I'm not attracted to you anymore. You let yourself go. You're too fat to love." The words hung in the air like poison gas. Too fat to love? I stood there, 6 weeks postpartum, having sacrificed my body to bring his daughter into the world, and he just told me I was too fat to love? "Get out," I whispered. "What?" "Get out of this bedroom. Sleep on the couch. Better yet, sleep at Jessica's place, since she's apparently everything I'm not." He grabbed his pillow with a cold laugh. "Maybe I will. At least she takes care of herself." The door slammed. Down the hall, Lily started crying, startled by the noise. I stood there shaking, tears streaming down my face before forcing myself to move toward the nursery. My baby needed me. Even if my husband thought I was too fat to love, my daughter still needed her mother. As I picked up Lily, soothing her back to sleep, something inside me hardened into diamond. Tyler had no idea who he'd just destroyed, but he was about to find out. My name is Harper Montgomery Reed. The Montgomery part is important, though I haven't used it in 5 years. I met Tyler Reed when I was 24, working as a junior editor at a small publishing house in New York. He was 28, charming, ambitious, working in finance. He took me to nice restaurants I couldn't afford, impressed by my artsy job, my bohemian lifestyle. What he didn't know, what I never told him, was that I was the sole heir to the Montgomery fortune. My grandfather, Harrison Montgomery, had built a pharmaceutical empire worth $340 million. When he died, he left everything to me in an irrevocable trust, accessible when I turned 30. My parents had died in a car accident when I was 8. My grandfather raised me with one rule: never tell anyone about the money. He'd said, "You'll never know if people love you for yourself or for what you can give them. When you turn 30, the money is yours. Until then, live like everyone else. Find out who you really are." So I did. I got scholarships for college. I worked part-time jobs. I lived in a tiny apartment with 2 roommates. I was just Harper. Quirky, bookish Harper who loved poetry coffee shops and secondhand bookstores. Tyler fell for that Harper. Or so I thought. We dated for a year before he proposed. Nothing extravagant. Dinner at our favorite Italian restaurant, a modest diamond ring he'd saved for. I said yes because I loved him, because he seemed kind and stable and real. We got married in a small ceremony. My trust fund paid for it. I could access money for major life events with trustee approval, but I told Tyler my grandfather had left me a small inheritance, $10,000, enough for a nice wedding, but not enough to change our lives. We moved into a bigger apartment. Tyler's career took off. Senior analyst, then VP, climbing the corporate ladder fast. My publishing salary was modest, but we were comfortable. Happy, I thought. Then I got pregnant. Tyler's reaction was complicated. He said all the right things. I'm so excited. We're going to be great parents. But his eyes held something else. Worry, calculation. The baby meant less freedom, less money, more responsibility. Still, he played the part. He came to ultrasounds. He helped paint the nursery. He held my hand during labor. But after Lily was born, everything changed. It started small, comments disguised as concern. Are you sure you should eat that? You're trying to lose the baby weight, right? Maybe you should go to the gym. I could watch Lily for an hour. I'm not saying you look bad. I'm just saying you looked better before. Then it escalated. Comparisons to other women, sighs when I undressed, turning away from me in bed. I'm just tired, he'd say when I tried to initiate intimacy. But he wasn't too tired to stay out late, to come home smelling like perfume, to smile at his phone like it held secrets. I was drowning in new motherhood, sleepless nights, constant feedings, the overwhelming responsibility of keeping a tiny human alive, and my husband was pulling away like I was contagious. My body, which had just performed a miracle, was now a source of shame. Every stretch mark was evidence of failure. Every pound I hadn't lost was proof I wasn't trying hard enough. I started skipping meals, pumping breast milk in the bathroom so I could use that time to do crunches, wearing baggy clothes to hide my postpartum body. Nothing was enough. And then came the night he said it out loud, "You're too fat to love." The morning after Tyler's cruel declaration, my phone rang. Unknown number, New York area code. Hello? Ms. Montgomery? A man's voice, formal and professional. My heart stopped. I hadn't heard that name in years. This is Harper Reed. My apologies, Ms. Reed. This is Martin Blackwell from Whitmore, Sutton and Associates. I'm the trustee of your grandfather's estate. I know who you are, Mr. Blackwell. I'm calling because your 30th birthday is in 2 weeks. Per the terms of your trust, you'll receive full access to your inheritance at that time. I'd like to schedule a meeting to discuss the transition. I'd been so consumed with pregnancy, birth, and new motherhood that I'd almost forgotten. In 2 weeks, I would turn 30. In 2 weeks, I would inherit everything. $340 million, plus 18 years of investment growth. Mr. Blackwell continued, current valuation of the trust is approximately $680 million. I'll need you to come to our office to sign documentation, discuss investment strategies, and $680 million? I repeated faintly. Yes, your grandfather's investments have performed exceptionally well. Congratulations, Ms. Montgomery. You're about to become a very wealthy woman. After I hung up, I sat there holding Lily, my mind racing. Tyler thought I was worthless, too fat to love, a burden he was stuck with because of the baby. He had no idea he was sleeping down the hall from a woman worth more than $500 million. The irony was so perfect it made me laugh out loud. I spent the next 2 weeks planning with the precision of a military operation. First, I called a lawyer. Not just any lawyer. I called Sandra Morrison, the best divorce attorney in Manhattan, the one celebrities and billionaires used when they wanted to destroy their exes legally and completely. Ms. Reed, she said after I explained my situation, or should I say Ms. Montgomery, this is quite straightforward. Your inheritance is separate property. He has no claim to it. However, I want to make sure we do this correctly. I want him to have nothing, I said coldly. Nothing except the knowledge of what he lost. Sandra smiled. I like you already. We filed paperwork dated 2 days before my birthday, before I officially inherited. The timing was critical. I wanted the divorce in motion before Tyler knew about the money. Second, I hired a private investigator. I needed proof of the affair I knew was happening. It took Marcus 3 days to come back with photos. Tyler and Jessica, his coworker, entering a hotel together, leaving hours later. Multiple dates documented. "He's not even being discreet," Marcus said, handing me the file. "Amateur hour." Third, I found a new apartment, a penthouse in Tribeca that I toured and paid for in cash, using a small advance from my trust. 3 bedrooms, river views, a nursery that would be a dream. I would move in the day after my birthday, the day after I became officially, legally, obscenely wealthy. Tyler would wake up to an empty house and divorce papers, and then he'd learn the truth. My 30th birthday was on a Saturday. Tyler was golfing, naturally, with clients, he claimed, though I knew better. I dropped Lily off with my best friend, Rachel, the only person who knew about my inheritance, and went to meet Mr. Blackwell. The Whitmore, Sutton, and Associates offices were old money elegant. Rich wood paneling, leather chairs, oil paintings of stern-faced men who'd probably made their fortunes in robber baron era. Mr. Blackwell was in his 60s, distinguished and exactly as formal in person as he'd been on the phone. "Ms. Montgomery," he said, standing to greet me, "happy birthday. Are you ready?" I sat down. More than ready. He slid a stack of documents across his massive desk. "This is your complete portfolio. Holdings, investments, properties, everything. Your grandfather was remarkably astute. He diversified extensively, invested in emerging technologies, pharmaceutical patents that continue to generate revenue. The estate is currently valued at $683 million. My hands shook as I flipped through pages. Real estate in Manhattan, Miami, San Francisco, stock portfolios, bonds, a pharmaceutical patent worth $40 million alone. There are also several properties your grandfather owned personally. A townhouse on the Upper East Side, currently generating rental income of $35,000 per month, a house in the Hamptons, a ski chalet in Aspen." "I had no idea," I whispered. "Your grandfather wanted you to build your own life first, to know who you were, independent of this wealth." Mr. Blackwell smiled. "He'd be proud of you, I think. You didn't take shortcuts. You worked. You built a life. You married." He paused delicately. "I married someone who loved me for me, or so I thought." "Quite. Well, that marriage is ending, I understand, from your attorney. Ms. Morrison is excellent, by the way. She'll ensure your assets remain protected." We spent 3 hours going through everything. I signed documents until my hand cramped. By the time I left, I was officially, legally wealthy beyond my wildest dreams. I picked up Lily from Rachel's, drove back to our apartment, and waited. Tyler came home at 8, smelling like scotch and perfume. "Hey," he said, barely looking at me. "I'm exhausted. I'm going straight to bed." "Okay," I said sweetly. "Happy birthday to me, by the way." He paused. "Oh, right. Happy birthday. We'll do something next weekend." He disappeared into the bedroom, our bedroom, for one more night. I smiled and began packing. Tyler woke up at 9 a.m. to an empty apartment. Well, not empty. I'd left furniture, his clothes, some kitchen stuff, but Lily's nursery was cleaned out, my clothes were gone, and on the kitchen counter next to the coffee maker that I deliberately left unplugged was an envelope. Inside, divorce papers and a note. "Tyler, I'm filing for divorce. The papers are self-explanatory. You'll be served officially tomorrow, but I wanted you to have advance notice. You told me I was too fat to love. You made me feel worthless. You had an affair with Jessica. Yes, I know. Enclosed are photos from the private investigator. You thought I was a burden, a financial drain, a wife who'd let herself go. You had no idea who you married. Check the news. Anner." Confused, Tyler grabbed his phone and opened his news app, the top story in the business section. Montgomery heir revealed. Harper Montgomery, granddaughter of pharmaceutical tycoon Harrison Montgomery, inherits $683 million fortune on her 30th birthday. The article included a photo of me leaving Whitmore, Sutton and Associates yesterday, professional and polished in a designer suit I'd bought specifically for this moment. Tyler's phone slipped from his hands and clattered on the floor. He called me 63 times that day. I didn't answer. He showed up at my old address, but I'd never given him the new one. He showed up at Rachel's. She slammed the door in his face. He sent texts that evolved from desperate to angry. "Harper, please, we need to talk. I made a mistake. I was stressed. I didn't mean it. You lied to me. For 5 years, you lied. How could you hide this from me? That money is half mine. We're married." That last one made Sandra laugh when I showed her. He really doesn't understand how this works, does he? The divorce was brutal and public. Tyler tried to claim he deserved half of my inheritance. He claimed emotional distress. He claimed I'd married him under false pretenses. Sandra destroyed every argument with surgical precision. "Your Honor, Ms. Montgomery's inheritance is separate property, clearly established by irrevocable trust. Mr. Reed has no claim to it. However, I want to make sure we do this correctly." She presented the photos, the hotel records, text messages Marcus had recovered showing Tyler and Jessica planning to be together once Harper gets her life together or he figures out an exit strategy. Exit strategy, like I was a business deal gone bad. The judge looked at Tyler with barely concealed disgust. "Mr. Reed, not only do you have no claim to Ms. Montgomery's separate property, but given your documented infidelity, you're fortunate she's not pursuing you for emotional damages. Divorce granted. Ms. Montgomery retains full custody of the minor child with visitation rights to be determined. Mr. Reed will pay child support in accordance with state guidelines. Court dismissed." Tyler left the courthouse a broken man. I left a billionaire single mother with full custody of my daughter and my dignity intact. The penthouse of Tribeca is everything I dreamed of. Floor-to-ceiling windows, a nursery painted soft yellow with a mural of clouds and stars, a home office where I'm writing my first novel, something I never had time for when I was pretending to be someone I wasn't. Lily is 9 months old now, happy and healthy. I hired a nanny, not because I don't want to be with my daughter, but because I can. Because having help doesn't make me a bad mother, it makes me a smart one. I've also started a foundation, the Montgomery Foundation for Postpartum Support. We find mental health services, body-positive programs, support groups for new mothers. Every woman who's been told she's not enough after sacrificing her body for childbirth deserves better. The foundation's first major donation, $10 million. Tyler's entire year's salary doesn't equal the interest I make in a week. He tried to contact me once more, 3 months after the divorce was final, an email. "Harper, I know you'll probably delete this, but I needed to say it. I was wrong about everything. You were never too fat, too anything. You were perfect, and I was too stupid and insecure to see it. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't deserve it. I just wanted you to know that losing you, losing Lily, is the biggest mistake of my life. The money doesn't matter. I mean, obviously it matters, but that's not the point. The point is, I had everything, and I threw it away because I'm an idiot. Jessica and I aren't together, by the way, in case you were wondering. Turns out she was only interested in me because she thought I'd have access to your money. Ironic, right? I hope you're happy. I hope Lily grows up knowing her mother is strong and successful and everything I said she wasn't. I'm sorry, Tyler." I read it once, felt nothing, and deleted it. His apology didn't matter. His regret didn't matter. He'd shown me exactly who he was when he thought I had nothing to offer. Now I know exactly who I am, not because of the money, but because of how I responded when someone tried to make me feel worthless. Last week, I ran into Jessica at a coffee shop. She saw me, went pale, and tried to leave quickly. "Jessica," I called out. She froze. I walked over, Lily on my hip, wearing Chanel and confidence like armor. "How are you?" I asked pleasantly. "I'm fine. Harper, listen, about Tyler and me, don't worry about it. You did me a favor, actually. Helped me see who he really was." She looked confused. "But you lost everything." I laughed. "Did I? I lost a cheating husband who thought I was too fat to love. In return, I gained freedom, full custody of my daughter, and about $680 million. Seems like a pretty good trade." Her face went through the same cascade of emotions Tyler's had: disbelief, shock, regret. "You should know," I added, picking up my coffee, "Tyler's been telling people you only wanted him for money, specifically my money. Just thought you should know what he's saying about you." I walked away, leaving her standing there, probably realizing that Tyler had used her the same way he'd tried to use me. Karma isn't always immediate, but it's always thorough. My phone buzzed. A text from Rachel. "Board meeting still on for 2?" Rachel was now the executive director of my foundation. I'd hired her immediately, giving her a 6-figure salary and the resources to help women the way I wished I'd been helped. "See you there," I replied. Lily gurgled happily, reaching for my coffee cup. I kissed her soft head, breathing in that perfect baby smell. "Your mommy is too fat to love," that's what Daddy said. "But you know what, baby girl? Mommy learned something important." I looked at my reflection in the coffee shop window. I had lost most of the baby weight, but my body was different now. Softer, stronger. Evidence of growing life. Mommy learned that anyone who loves you conditionally doesn't love you at all. And that's not about you. That's about them. Lily smiled, showing her 2 tiny teeth. "Also," I added, "Mommy learned that being underestimated is the greatest gift anyone can give you because they'll never see you coming." Tyler had looked at me and seen someone who'd let herself go, someone too fat to love, someone he could discard. He never saw the billionaire hiding in plain sight, and by the time he realized his mistake, I was already gone. If you've ever been told you weren't good enough by someone who should have loved you unconditionally, you're not alone. Your worth isn't defined by people who can't see it. Share your story below and subscribe for more stories about finding strength when others see weakness.